What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? This is your man, Real Deal, Steele, coming to you live, November 3rd, 2022, Thursday night. Feeling all right? Out of sight. What is good, ladies and gentlemen? Great to see you guys. Great to see you guys. A lot of familiar names in the chat, a few new ones too, and that's what we like to see. Lots of interesting things to cover tonight, and we are going to get down to it, boppers. But before we begin, if I could ask you just to smash that like button like you'd smash your first childhood celebrity crush. Takes a split second of your time, doesn't cost you a dime. Number one thing you can do to help this channel out through these tricky YouTube algorithms. Also, if you're new here, I'd like to personally welcome you and invite you to subscribe. We've got a really cool little community here, and I would love to have you be a part of it. Also, if you're on Twitter, if I could ask you to retweet the link I put in the chat, just so our fellow community members know that we are live, that's hugely appreciated as well. Also, if you're not a member or you used to be a member and you're thinking about coming back and you're like, where was Steven Steele for a few months? Well, I'm back. I'm back, baby, and we're doing it to it on the regular. Just click the link pinned at the top of the chat. You can become a member for just as little as starting at $4 a month. $4 a month and unlocks new features and just a great additional way to support what we're doing here. And obviously, if you feel compelled to super chat anywhere throughout the duration of this broadcast, that's obviously hugely appreciated for time and efforts put in. Feel free to ask me whatever, and I will correspond with those questions as efficiently and completely as I can. Without any further ado, let's see who we've got in here. We got Mike Tracy, we've got the Hump Deezy, we got Marie Potter, we've got Keith Havens, we got Hector the Dude. Good to see Hector the Dude. We've got Andy Shirley, we've got Northwoods Peachtree, we've got the Erectile Reptile is in the hizza. You know it's going to be a good one now. Dingus Chubb, Jeremy Abbott, RW, Zombie Doge Army, Me You, and the list goes on, the list goes on. Welcome, guys. So yeah, some really fun stuff and rather funny stuff, and interesting things have happened since we last met, and we're going to discuss those things, and a whole lot more. We're gonna have a fun one. So let's just get down to it. Let's see at the top of my notes here. We've got the New York Times reporting Elon Musk under financial pressure pushes to make money from Twitter. The billionaire and his advisors have discussed adding paid direct messages, fees to watch videos, and other features to the service. Elon Musk, the new owner of Twitter, is throwing everything at the wall to make more money at the social media company. Since closing the acquisition last week, Mr. Musk and his advisors have discussed adding paid direct messages, which he would let users send private messages to high-profile users to the service, according to two people with knowledge of the matter and internal documents viewed by the New York Times. They have also talked about adding paywall videos, which would mean that certain videos could not be viewed unless users paid with a fee. These people said they have discussed reviving Vine, a one-time short video platform, which would attract a younger audience coveted by advertisers. This week, Mr. Musk moved to make money from Twitter's blue check verification program, a method of making users sure users are who they say they are. The billionaire announced that the program, which is currently free, will be rolled into Twitter Blue subscription service, which will offer enhanced features for a monthly $8 fee. And it goes on. So there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of development rapidly happening. And certainly a lot of talk about a lot of projected plans, and it's all kind of being thrown at us at once, and it's interesting. I'm going to talk about all that stuff. I also like to give a shout out to Mr. Phil Hall. Mr. Phil Hall is going to be on this show very soon. I'm glad I saw you in the chat, and he's going to be my guest. He just released a new book. It's freaking phenomenal, and I want to have him on here to talk all about it and to catch up with him. Phil's always one of my favorite guests, and so Phil, I'm gonna hit you up after the show, and we're gonna set a date on that. Zombie Doge Army, member for a year and a half. Time flies when you're having fun, folks. Gotta flex a bit, he says. Yes, indeed, you are one of the OGs, no doubt about it, no bout a doubt it. And it's great to have you. Thank you for your continued support, Zombie. Appreciate you. So, what do we make of this? Well, I think Elon is acting how he should be acting overall for a man that in his position. He's acting aggressively to start gaining back that $44 billion that he threw down, as well as he should, right? As well as he should, to turn it into a viable, long-term, profitable business, which it really hadn't been, right? It really hadn't been. And it hadn't been pretty much due to a culture of laxness and a culture of people being drunk on power, in my opinion, that really didn't help the platform in a number of ways. Not only did it not help it technologically, it technologically stagnated things, but it also stagnated a wide range of viewpoints, expressions, and just everything else. And I don't even just mean politically, but I mean the level of censorship on Twitter that still is in place now, essentially, is so severe that if you were to touch on anything that the delicate Twitter moderation staff that was in place found to be objectionable in any way, or just anything that they just found distasteful on any level, you get the old shadow ban, like that's been on me, or you get suspended, or you get permanently suspended and unpersoned from Twitter, etc., etc. And this is a real problem. And, it's one to Elon's credit that he has spoke truth to power to, and spoke about quite a bit, and as one of the main reasons for him acquiring it. As we move forward here, I think it's a good idea to keep some polite pressure on him to make sure that those objectives don't get lost along the way. He has been mixing it up with some folks that I don't think are very trustworthy when it comes to the quote unquote Health and Safety Commission that's in place still over at Twitter there. But then again, he's only been in ownership over there a little less than a week now, right? So we got to give him time to work it out. It very well could be that he's playing a long game and all this stuff, and he's got to do what he's got to do to accomplish what he's going to do. And because I will admit, I was wrong in terms of I didn't think he was going to actually follow through with the Twitter acquisition, and I was pretty disappointed in that for it. But he proved me wrong, so I'm just going to reserve my judgment and to see how this shakes out. At the same time, we just don't want to assume that everything's gravy. You know what I mean? We want to pay close attention to see what's going on there, and speak out where it's necessary. So let's see what's going on here in the chat. A lot of talk about zombie and people doing shots, and a few people perhaps a little bit inebriated, extending their happy hour. Someone asking if I text Donna. I did not text Donna. Thank you for reminding me. I'm in a multitask right now, and I'm going to text Donna as we speak. And I'm just going to tell her I'm live. I think she said something on Twitter that she wouldn't be able to make it tonight, but I could be wrong. Andy Shirley says most of them are getting fired tomorrow anyway. That leads me to my next topic of discussion here. So it is said that Elon Musk is going to lay off a significant amount of staff starting tomorrow. So Elon Musk is reportedly going to cut half the Twitter workforce in half starting tomorrow, right? That's huge. Twitter could also raise the price of its pay. Yeah, we already know that. Mass layoffs at Twitter. This is in Gadget reporting. Employees have been bracing since Elon Musk began his takeover. Might be on the horizon, according to Bloomberg. The website's new owner and chief twit, quote in quotes, is planning to call 3,700 employees, wow, from the workforce, which would cut its number of staff members in half in an effort to cut costs. Musk and his team of advisors are reportedly in the midst of finalizing the terms of layoffs, but one option they're considering is offering the people they let go 60 days of severance pay. The executive could break the news to affected staffers as soon as Friday. And it goes on and on. I think that's probably a good move. I mean, again, I could be wrong. I'm just an inquisitive observer here. But did anyone see that TikTok of that girl who's a Twitter employee, and she goes through a day in the life of being a Twitter employee? Anyone see that? I know one or two of you guys had to have seen this TikTok. It's absolutely ridiculous and hilarious. So she goes through just an average day in the life as a Twitter employee, and it's literally like this girl in a valley, this young woman in a Valley Girl accent. She's like, I start my day at the espresso station, and I make myself espresso with extra froth and cinnamon, whipped cream, and then I go hang out in the cooling down center, and then after that, I go to the yoga studio, and I hang out in the yoga studio. Sometimes I just sit here, I don't even do yoga. And then I had a work Zoom call, and I did a work Zoom call. And then I went back downstairs to the lounge, and I had some green tea at the lounge. And I'm serious, it goes on. The whole day is her just like, don't get me wrong, I have no problem with it. Listen, if you can get a cushy corporate gig like this, more power to you. So let me say this, I'm not hating, right? But literally a lot of these people's average days at Twitter are just literally just kicking it and relaxing and doing like a Zoom call or two and calling it a day. And we also have footage from some of the top executives that, if you recall, that came out a little less than a year ago via Project Veritas, that are recorded, where one of the guys is saying that he puts in an average of 4 hours of work a week, and he's on like a 300-400K annual salary. And he was on record as saying that this wasn't abnormal either. This was pretty common. So obviously, and look, I say this as someone who's a small business owner myself. I consider myself anyway a very lax, easygoing boss. And I say this because even at that, as someone who's a super chill, easygoing person to work for, I would never put somebody on a huge, generous salary that was giving me, 4 hours of work a week. That's insane. So, of course, it's just common sense that there's going to be an overhaul there, a trimming of the fat, leaning things down to make things leaner, meaner, much more productive. So yeah, I think that's probably a lot of smart moves, and I would imagine that this 3,700 employees plus two, you got to figure most of the people before they are even laid off by Elon Musk, almost all, you can pretty much assume that almost all of the Twitter employees hate Elon Musk to begin with. If you hear noise, that is Remy licking my face and breathing into my microphone. She always does this when I go live because she's got to compete for the attention. Anyway, so you got to figure, do you really want, how many people do you want working for you knowing that they're undermining you, knowing that they despise you, right? That can't be good. Then the results that you're going to get from that, well, that can't be good, right? So, and also think about how much corruption Elon Musk has to uproot there. Think how much coding has gone on to essentially rig this system, because it goes deep, folks. It goes really deep. And the systemic corruption over at Twitter, I mean, I see it as corruption. They see it as, some Orwellian vision of curating society in their image for the better. But to me, that kind of goes hand in hand with the logic every supervillain gives in every comic book ever, right? But, that being said, that's what he's up against, folks. That's what he's up against. So this is going to take time. 50% layoffs. Hopefully the other half that are going to remain will, for the most part, shape up and fly right and do things that, the way Elon wants to do things, which, in my opinion, will more than likely anyway, be a substantial improvement to what we've had in the past there. So this is going to be a huge shakeup week. And, getting back to these features, I think it's pretty clever. So what Elon is doing by reviving Vine is he's essentially going to kill two birds with one stone in a good way, in my opinion, because it's my opinion anyway that TikTok is one of the most toxic platforms in America, hands down, in terms of the kind of things it rewards in its algorithms, the kind of things that it essentially propagates to the youth, and things like that. I just don't think it's a healthy platform overall, and I think it's a de-evolutionary accelerator. And so what Vine is going to do, I wish there were more people watching tonight, because this is a good one, folks. This is a really good one, and I hope the few of you that are joining me here tonight are listening. Because what Vine is doing, Vine is essentially going to compete and position itself to compete with TikTok. Now, this is something not a lot of people know, okay? This is something not a lot of people know, is that it's a Chinese-run company, and the Chinese version of TikTok, to which its name eludes me at this moment, its algorithm supports things like engineering, mathematic accomplishments, fitness and lifestyle tips, things of this nature, dancing, and the arts. And the algorithm actually rewards people and young people that are creating material like that. Where conversely, the algorithms reward, let's say, entirely different sets and standards of things on the American version. Anyone that's casually scrolled through TikTok, you can attest to the sorts of things that the algorithm rewards in the American version of TikTok. But it's starkly different. And so when you're a young person, and I would argue that by default, to a certain degree, most all young people are more impressionable. So you are going to in order for you to build up your following, in order for you to build up a name for yourself, and hopefully, like so many young people do now, aspire to be content creators as a profession, well, you are going to more than likely generate content to which the algorithm rewards, right? And so it becomes this vicious cycle. Now, if we have, if Elon Musk repackages and relaunches Vine, which also has a very similar template in terms of the duration of videos posted, it's it's a minute or under, or something like that. I forget what the exact what it is exactly, but it's going to be very similar. It's going to compete very similar and be a very the overall template is going to be similar to TikTok. Zombie Doge says, "Bros, you can't compete with the duck." I think you're making a reference towards my my last video. Well, if anyone could do it, I think Elon Musk and his team will be able to do it, and hopefully this could be the beginning again of a cultural shift in the paradigm, wherein it will not only will Vine help bring many more younger people into Twitter, but it will also put out a much better quality of content of quality compared to TikTok, which I can only imagine. I have to assume that Elon is aware of the things I speak of, and those are on his objectives. First super chat of the night, appreciate it so much. Zombie Doge Army coming in with a $5 make you holler. Is that Remy licking your face, or is that your girlfriend? It was Remy licking my face. Yeah, but it depending on the night, it could have been the other as well. But yeah, that was Remy licking my face, getting in my grill, and breathing heavily on the microphone. So, Andy says the FCC is trying to ban TikTok in the U.S. Well, I know the previous president, actually President Trump. Remember when he went on that tangent? It lasted a couple weeks where he was talking about banning TikTok in the United States. I remember some of the younger people in my life kind of were worried about that and talking about that. But it could be an incredible tool, like TikTok, in terms of, like, for my nephew, who's a brilliant songwriter and musician and producer, and it's extraordinary if you're a talented artist, but you have to be a talented artist that's not camera shy. And I have to say, when I was my nephew's age, I was a very, very shy young man. So, in order to be a successful musical artist now, you have to be like super, like, hey, social media person, which kind of sucks because you almost have to be like an actor slash musician in order to make it today. You have to be super active on social media at all times and market yourself that way, which is unfortunate, actually. Do you go with the rock band Boston? That was one guy actually that wrote all the music for Boston, and he was a hermit, and he loved being a hermit, and he wasn't a very social guy at all, and he loved living life that way. And when you look back, Boston rarely toured, and that's why. So, but back in the day, you could be just like a hermit who was a brilliant songwriter and make a really good living for yourself and get on the radio and all sorts of other things. You can't do that today. You can't. You can, but it definitely stacks the odds against you. 7 Seconds. 7 Seconds is an old hardcore punk band. I remember listening to them back in the day. So yeah, these are very exciting developments in terms of paying to DM celebrities or whatever. I think that's fine. I think it's fine because currently you really can't do that with most celebrities, and I assume there'll be like a profit sharing model wherein people spend a certain amount of money to DM a celebrity, and there'll be like a profit split between that celebrity or whatever and Twitter. I think that's fine. I think that's fine and good. Also, Elon has made several statements to allude that one of the top priorities for him in taking over is to generate new forms of revenue for content creators, because essentially right now, me as a content creator, albeit a small one, but there are no options to generate any revenue through Twitter. Twitter basically has me on the naughty list. I'm totally shadow banned overnight. All my engagement and my reach cut by 95%, and they just shut me down. So nothing's going to change for, and I know there are people in the audience that are listening right now. You too have been shadow banned for one reason or another. And until, and Jeremy from the Accordion, who's actually doesn't live too far from me. Jeremy from the Accordion was talking about on his show yesterday that unless shadow banning, he was kind of echoing my sentiments that I've been talking about a little bit on Twitter over the last couple of days, that unless the shadow banning is deprogrammed, unless the shadow banning is thwarted and undone, and all of the repercussions of the shadow banning, what the shadow banning poses, it really kind of makes everything else Elon is doing pointless, really. If huge swaths of Twitter users are living in a different reality of essentially being partially unpersoned, and we're all like boys in the bubble because the powers that be decided that they don't want other people to hear us or hear what we're saying, and didn't want us to increase our reach. Because those of you who've been following me for a long time know how rapidly I was growing before I was shadow banned. I was growing so quick. And right at when I was almost getting to 20,000 followers, I got completely shadow banned and shut down. And then I started from scratch with the profile I have now, and I was growing super rapidly with the new profile. And then they shut that down once they saw that I was regrowing my platform effectively. Then they shut me down again. And to the degrees that they do this is really something. So when you're shadow banned, what happens is every time you leave a comment under somebody else's tweet, for example, if I leave a comment under or a meme under one of Elon Musk's tweets, the only people that will see my tweets are my already existing followers. Anybody that's not already following me won't see my tweet. My comment will be hidden, right? To give you an idea of one of the things they do. And even out of that, only a fraction of the people that follow me, my comments under an Elon Musk tweet or whatever will show up on their timeline. To go take it a step further. Now, another thing they do, in my opinion, one of the most diabolical things that shadow banning does to some accounts is they will straddle and throttle rather your followers to make sure your follower count never increases. So right now, Twitter has me locked in at 12.8 thousand, right? And under the current model, unless Elon does something about it, that profile, my Twitter profile that I'm on right now, it will never increase over 12.8 thousand, which in reality is impossible when you think about it. If you're an active Twitter user, that would be impossible for that to happen, for you to never get any new followers the rest of your life. So what they do, and I realized this because people kept messaging me. They're like, Steele, I had to refollow you like once or twice now. I never unfollowed you in the first place, and this kept happening. I kept getting messages and tweets about this. And so what I realized what Twitter does on a daily basis is every time I get a batch of new followers, they automatically unfollow people people that have been following me for a while. They automatically have them unfollow me. So it's constantly cycling out so that you always stay at the same amount of followers no matter how many new followers come in, which is super messed up, but that's what they do. You know, when you talk about these things, you know, it can come across like almost like you're a conspiracy theorist or something, but these are proven things that they do. And it goes really, really deep. And Twitter has denied this in the past. They've denied that shadow banning is even a thing. But they've been caught with their hands in the cookie jar so many times that it's just ridiculous. So it's a huge, huge issue. And I think it's time. I mean, I think Elon Musk really needs to make a clear statement of his commitment to handling that and taking on shadow banning, because it's a huge, huge issue. Let's see. I'm friends with Jello Biafra. Keith Haven says, "Are you really?" I grew up listening to the Dead Kennedys, and yeah, good times, good times. And after the Dead Kennedys, Jello Biafra actually went on this streak in the 90s where he did so many side projects. Some of them kind of like thrash metal, some of them in like more like industrial sounding, and stuff like that. I am most notably as I think he made a guest appearance on a one-off album by a project called Palehead, which consisted of, get this, Al Jurgensen from the brainchild of Ministry and Ian MacKaye from Minor Threat / Fugazi. And was Jello Biafra in that mix? No, he wasn't. But he was on a tour with Ministry when Ministry first put out an album in the early 90s called The Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste. And on every tour or show, they had a big fence in front of the stage, and then like industrial metal tins just burning fire out of them on the sides of the stage. I remember this. I was there. One of my first concerts. It blew my mind. I thought I was in some. I thought I was literally in the movie The Lost Boys or something. Anyway, what people were doing, what they would do on this tour while Ministry played, they would scale and climb the fences, and then they would jump off the fence into the crowd. It was wild. Zombie Doge Army coming in again with $5 super chat. Anyone else have to put your phone number on Twitter to prove you're not a bot? I did. Yeah. That's not required for everybody, but it's only required for some of us. So do the math there. And even in order for me to have started my second profile without it being shadow banned, before it did get shadow banned again for probably expressing wrong thing at some point, I can only assume I had to register a different phone number with that account, so I wouldn't be shadow banned right out of the gate. So yeah, interesting stuff. And the whole shadow banning rabbit hole goes really deep. And so my concern is, I hope that Elon is cognizant of how deep that rabbit hole goes, and that he will uproot it, by its roots, right? Because that is what it's going to take. Anyway, I spent plenty of time on that, and thank you for letting me go on that tangent. Boston News is reporting Senator Elizabeth Warren says she has a real problem with Elon Musk following Twitter takeover. Direct quote from her is, I'll try to do an Elizabeth Warren impersonation here. I don't think any billionaire ought to be the one who has that kind of power. Well, Senator Elizabeth Warren is continuing her criticism of Elon Musk. For years, the Massachusetts senator called out the world's richest man, and those critiques intensified with Musk's recent purchase of Twitter. Speaking on Late Show Wednesday, Warren told host Stephen Colbert, imagine my shock, really, her and Stephen Colbert yucking it up, bashing Elon Musk. Who would have guessed? That she is opposed to the social media platform being owned by anyone with that level of power and riches held by Musk. I don't think any billionaire ought to be the one who holds that kind of power to decide how people around the world get a chance to talk to each other, Warren said. I got a real problem with him. And at this time, I'm just going to go have myself a beer. This is really rich talk coming from her. She talks like she talks like she's a person of the people when it comes to the level of income of what she's worth. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. How much is, Elizabeth Warren net worth 2022? Elizabeth's net worth is $67 million. You think she can scrap by? You think she'll be okay? Okay, so Elizabeth Warren is worth $67 million. And of course, she's not a billionaire, but she's a very, very comfortable multimillionaire, much more so than the rest of us, and much more so than any of us will ever see. So it's kind of like this faux populist angle, where I think, personally, I find Musk more trustworthy because he doesn't shy from the fact that he is a billionaire. He just owns it, and he just says what he means, and he means what he says. Now, knowing that, and her recent statements of how she says she has a problem with any billionaire controlling what people say on Twitter, first of all, this is a very hypocritical, inconvenient statement, because she didn't seem to have any problem with the previous billionaire and billionaires that owned Twitter before Elon Musk. She didn't have any criticisms before then. And secondly, it's pretty curious that she's worried about Elon Musk regulating what speech can be expressed, where she never concerned any concern. She never spent time expressing any concern over the vast limits of freedom of speech on Twitter before Elon Musk's acquisition. So this sudden feigned outrage and concern over these things from Elizabeth Warren at this juncture just seems to ring rather hollow. It seems to ring rather hollow. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it, folks. All right, next one. Let's pivot a little bit to the headline story for the evening. AOC and Elon Musk, Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. Folks, if you watch my timeline, you'd know that I made a meme of a rom-com movie poster that I called, what did I call it? I got to look it up myself because I forgot. You don't remember either? Okay. But it's a doozy. It's a doozy. I got to look through my own timeline to find it now. I think I posted on my YouTube timeline additionally. You can find it there. Yes, here it is. Falcon Fine. Falcon Fine. Here, let me put it on screen for you guys. I think it's a good one. Not many people saw it because I'm shadow banned, but let's see here. Let's try to switch this out and let's bring the meme on the screen, if you know what I mean. There it is, folks. Falcon Fine. He was a bad boy billionaire. She was a progressive firebrand. The more they fought, the more they fell in love. Starring AOC Ocasio I can't even say her full name. I'm so used to saying Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Elon Musk. Directed by Ridley Scott. Soundtrack by your man's real deal, Steele. I would love to do a soundtrack like this. It would be hilarious. So there's my faux rom-com adventure starring these two. Rated PG of 13, of course. Of course. You gotta. But yeah, I think that there's some tension here. I think there's some flirtation tension between these two. I'm serious. I wouldn't cross it off the list that these two would end up meeting under friendly terms, perhaps even a bit more than friendly terms at some point in the future. You know, she's way more excited about getting a notification about Elon Musk than a text from her redheaded boyfriend. You know it. You just know it. Come on, folks. All right, let me bring back the ETH chart here. Anyway, so AOC is claiming, she tweeted this out just today. Yo, Elon Musk, while I have your attention, why should people pay $8 just for the app to get bricked when they say something you don't like? This is what my app has looked like ever since my tweet upset you yesterday. What's good? Doesn't seem very free speechy to me. Well, what is good, AOC? So, and on this tweet, she posted a screenshot of the notifications under verified. So I only know this through a couple of my friends that have verified check marks. Once you have a verified check mark, there is a separate section of notifications wherein you get you'll get direct notifications from other people who are verified check marks, right? And so when AOC opens her notifications, all of her verified notifications are gone. They're missing. It's just blank with like with like a just a corporate like generic text thing there. And so she is alleging that Elon Musk wiped all her notifications off. That's what she's alleging here. So as funny as that would be, I doubt that Elon Musk would do that. First of all, it'd be a stupid move. Secondly, I don't think he would bother enough to do it. And then I looked into this and I asked a few people that are verified. And if you look a little bit lower here, Matt Wallace responded, and I think he has the top response to this tweet. And Matt's response to her was, actually, I can confirm that your Twitter access has not changed at all. You literally just need to update your app. So I confirmed this before I went live tonight. I reached out to Matt and I said, is this true? Is this true? And I'll read the exact text that he sent back to me regarding this. He said, yes. I said, is this true? Matt, is this true? And he just texted me back, yes, this has happened to me before. All I had to do was update my app and everything was fine. Laugh emoji. So that's what's happened here. And here's another example of AOC wishing that was the case. And when you see she actually put out a little video of her, because she likes to live stream a lot to her audience, I think on Instagram. While she's like eating chicken nuggets or something, she's live streaming earlier today, and she said, apparently, she says she was totally unaware of the Elon thing. She said, my team came to me and said, do you want us to do anything about the Elon situation? And she said, what Elon situation? She claimed she had no idea about it until her team told her about it. And then she said when she looked into it, she saw nothing on her notifications. And so when she tweeted out what she tweeted out, and she says, apparently I got under a certain little millionaire's skin. That was her big zinger, right? Her big zinger. And you could tell she was just full of glee and delight. Her beefing with Elon Musk titillates this woman. Yes, folks, titillates. Cover your children's ears. To no end. It really just spikes her emotions and keeps her completely enthralled. She loves it. And I suspect Elon kind of likes it too. I think he kind of likes it too. And I think he should invite her. I think he should invite her on a extended weekender to SpaceX headquarters down there in Texas. That's what I think. But that being said, what she is alleging isn't true. I've confirmed it with someone who is a verified check. It's just a matter of her updating her app. But she always likes to. AOC does. It's not the first time she's responded this way to critics of hers. She always likes to put words in her critics' mouths and project opinions on her critics' mouths that they didn't really say in real life. Who was that young guy? He's like kind of like a conservative guy, kind of comedian, Alex something. He was like harassing her. Well, I say harassing in the sense that he was at the Capitol outside the Capitol steps, and he was hollering a few things at her while filming himself while she was going back into work. He said, "There's my favorite." What do you say? My favorite big Latina booty, or something. I'm paraphrasing to some extent, and it got him a lot of press. It got a lot of laughs and drew laughs and ire. And she actually walked over when he said that. She walked over to his camera phone, and she sarcastically waved at him and moved on. Well, later that day, she like live streamed, and she was so dramatic about it. She said, I was just sexually harassed outside of the Capitol, and this random guy said, hey, check out AOC. She's got a big, fat, sexy, juicy booty. And I was like, he didn't say all those things. I think she wishes he said all those things. I think she wishes that's what's being said out there. And don't get me wrong, because she's an attractive woman, but it was just so funny how she put all those extra adjectives in there from what he actually said, and I thought that was pretty wild. I thought that was pretty funny. Anyway, so I think this rom-com will eventually become a reality, given some time. Given some time. All right, let's pivot, folks. Let's pivot. Benzinga reporting. Dogecoin rests after massive 150% spike. Is the crypto prepping on a run to 27 cents? Spiked over 7% at one point during Thursday's 24-hour trading session before falling about 2% higher. The crypto has been consolidating since Sunday, trading mostly sideways within a number of inside bar patterns and decreased volume. The consolidation was needed after the crypto skyrocketed over 150% between the 25th and 29th, etc. Bearish traders, the trend is your friend until it's not, and the stock or crypto may be downwards, continue downwards or sideways within the following flag for a short period of time. Aggressive traders may decide to short the stock or crypto at the upper trend line and exit the trade at the lower trend line. So, I'm sticking to my initial assessments and prediction. Well, let me just pull up the Doge chart here, guys. Why don't we do that? Let's swap it out. Yeah, so Dogecoin trading just a little bit below 12 cents here, and this is right in line with what I predicted. Remember when I went live during that big ascendance where we got up to 16, 17 cents around there. And after that, what had happened, I said that we'll probably see it come down and consolidate between 11 and 14 cents for a few weeks. And so far, that's exactly what's happening. I think the chart looks brilliant. I think the volume looks brilliant. And last night we had some nice volume coming in upwards of 15 cents or so. And I don't think those days are behind us at all. I think essentially the next huge leg up will come in the wake of further developments with Dogecoin integration as it relates to Twitter. And I think the extent of that Dogecoin integration is going to be very significant. I think it's going to be very significant, folks. And the long-term effect I believe that this will have on Dogecoin, I think will be very substantial. And I think it'll be substantial enough to push its way to a new all-time high. And as most of you recall, that all-time high was around 75, 76 cents very briefly one late Saturday night. So I do think we will be returning to those levels, just not a matter of when, just not a matter of if, but a matter of when, in my opinion. And the more we move forward here, the more news we're going to get, obviously, as regarding Dogecoin as it relates to Twitter. But as you recall, it was just a few nights ago on Halloween Eve, wherein Elon Musk tweeted out a picture of his Shiba Inu dog, Floki, donning a Twitter t-shirt with a jack-o'-lantern with the Twitter logo carved in it. Pretty much this is the most blatant sign that when you think Twitter, you're going to think Doge, and when you think Doge, you're going to think Twitter. That is how powerful and significant I believe the cross-branding will be, which will be probably the single most bullish thing to happen to any cryptocurrency in the history of cryptocurrency. So, it's always good to get the most competitive position possible. But at the same time, if you wait too long, things can pass you by too, right? So if you're thinking about adding to your Dogecoin bag and you're looking, You see Dogecoin trading right now a little bit under 12 cents, and you're waiting for it to drop lower. It very well may drop lower. And folks, when I talk about these things, there's no certainties in the market. I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not flawless in that regard. So please take that into account. I just try to assess on what the higher probabilities are and the lower probability scenarios are, and present them. So I think it's a high probability that Dogecoin is going to keep running much more significantly than where it is now, even to the point of finding a new all-time high and then some. Is right now to buy a good time to top off your Doge bag to buy more Dogecoin? I would say, my opinion, not financial advice. Yeah, I think purchasing Dogecoin under 12 cents is a really good look, particularly long term. That's another thing too. When people always ask, and this is not specific to Dogecoin, but any crypto, is now a good time to buy? Is now a good time to buy? Well, it depends how long you're willing to hold. If the project is one that goes the distance and it's high utility, and it has a good history behind it, and is one of those has a good chance of being a long-term hold coin. It depends how patient you are. You're not going to see, if you buy at higher levels, like so many did on the last ascendance of Dogecoin. It's going to take a while before you start seeing returns, but I think people will see returns on people that even bought upwards of 40, 50, 60 cents on the last parabolic run with Dogecoin. I think they're going to see gains too. It's just a matter of how patient that you are, right? It's just a matter of how patient they are. And that goes for any high utility coin that's has a decent chance of having a long-term future. Now, conversely, if you're talking about meme coins and low market cap coins, that's a whole other market altogether. Those typically aren't long-term holds. There are a few exceptions that come out, but overall, those are short plays. And by short plays, I mean from 1 week to 6 months, tops. And the six months ones are few and far between, and those are the ones that really go the distance, like Floki, for example, or something like that, right? Speaking of meme coins that broke out into something much more significantly, Shiba Inu reached record lows recently. I don't know if I had any links. If I had any links to read off it, but I was just looking at the charting, record lows, but I also did see it start to spike right before I went on the air here. So I'm going to check that SHIB chart real quick. I know if a few of you guys are holding some of that. I've kind of shorted it off and on in the past to make a little extra money here and there. But SHIB pretty much trading sideways, but it had a nice bullish little uptick that lasted, looks like about a half hour here right before I went on the air. So, but it's still trading pretty low. Now, this poses another interesting question going forward. SHIB looking very bearish. Doge looking very bullish. It might be a good time to buy SHIB right now while it's this low. At the same time, maybe not, because maybe this is where it's separating the wheat from the chaff, where now Dogecoin is proving itself to be able to convert its everyday real life utility into a platform for further mass adoption and use on a daily basis, where in SHIB, it has a lot of extra hurdles in terms of, for example, not only its transaction speeds are slower, but its transaction fees are most notably would inhibit, in my opinion, last time I looked anyway, SHIB from reaching mass adoption in a retail space. I think the last time we ran numbers on that, if you were to purchase a pair of AMC movie tickets, for example, with SHIB, I think processing the fees that went along with it would be upwards of like $40. Now, nobody's going to spend $40 in processing and gas to complete a transaction like that. Conversely, Dogecoin is pennies, right? So, or even fractions of pennies at this point. So, I admittedly, I haven't kept up enough on the evolutions of SHIB utility to know if I'm missing something since then. But the last time I looked into it, it was pretty clear that those were the primary differences between the two currencies. So we could be seeing essentially the end of SHIB in terms of where its market value it could have apexed, honestly. It could have apexed already. Not to say you still can't make money on a project like that. You can if it dips low enough and you buy that dip, and then obviously, you wait for better days ahead to sell. But yeah, there's that. Keith says, I made great money from SHIB. Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Andy Shirley, I got 100 million SHIB. Gets back to all-time high. I'm selling. Yeah, probably smart. Probably smart. And it could happen. It could happen, Andy. And gosh, I really missed an opportunity. I really didn't care for the marketing of SHIB for obvious reasons that I've gone over on the show. But that being said, I did have an opportunity to buy SHIB in early 2021. And I wish I had, because if I had, I would have made life-changing money. And many of us can tell a story like that at one time or another, where we've had missed opportunities like that in crypto. But man, I remember looking at it and somebody even telling me about it, and I could have gotten it under 1 million, I think. And oh man, hindsight's always 20/20. It's easy to say now, though, right? Here's kind of a cool thing related to Dogecoin. Benzinga also reporting Dogecoin community raises funds to build a Kabasu statue to Japan as Shiba Inu dog behind the meme turns 17. So Kabasu, for those of you who don't know, is the original Shiba Inu that the OG meme comes from, that the Dogecoin mascot comes from, who resides in Japan with her owner. And so what they're doing is they're raising money to build a golden statue of Kabasu in her hometown in Japan, which is a cause that I support. Now I'm thinking about it, I should probably retweet something related to that. I know one or two of the Dogecoin devs were talking, promoting that as well. Let's see. And in terms of mass adoption for cryptocurrency, Bitcoin.com reporting Democrats and Republicans agree cryptocurrency is the future of finance, survey shows. Grayscale Investments, the world's largest digital currency asset manager, announced Tuesday that its new national survey has revealed that Democrats and Republicans agree cryptocurrency is the future of finance. The online survey was conducted on Grayscale's behalf between October 6th and 11th by a Harris poll, a global market research and consulting firm. A total of a little over 2,000 adults who are likely voters participated. And what did it conclude? It concluded that more than half Americans, 53%, agree that cryptocurrencies are the future, including 59% of Democrats and 52% of Republicans, with a 44% of Americans noting that they expect to have crypto as part of the retirement portfolio in the future. Well, that's incredibly bullish news, and it's good to finally have some uniting news, right? So that is the one good thing that we've seen, and more so to the Democrats' credit, because for a while it seemed that Democrats were becoming pretty hostile to cryptocurrency. I'm not saying that they still aren't, but they have made actions and statements since then that have been more bullish as relates to cryptocurrency, particularly statements that the current president has made. So that's encouraging to see both sides of the aisle coming together for mass adoption as it relates to cryptocurrency, digital currency, whatever you want to call it. CNBC reporting, Coinbase reports better than expected user numbers, even as third quarter revenue plunges. Well, this is basically, I don't want to get into this article too much, it's kind of boring. But basically what's happened is Coinbase's third quarter earnings reports came out, and they were way more bullish than anybody expected. In fact, many people were assuming that the third quarter earnings reports were going to be very bearish, and that a lot of people were assuming that Coinbase was in a lot of hot water in terms of declining popularity, etc., for a number of reasons. But they have proved that to be wrong. In fact, they've increased in popularity even though the market has struggled greatly Coinbase has continued to gain user base, which is pretty extraordinary. Pretty extraordinary. Now, last story of the night here. Let's get to it. The top fast food chains, franchises that use the highest quality ingredients. So these are essentially the healthiest fast food franchises in the country. What do you think they are? I want to hear your guesses first before I start reading off this list. And I'm getting this list from eatthis.com. Eatthis.com. My girl is saying Culver's, which is a regional franchise here in the Midwest and through select parts of the South, but it's not anywhere else. But yeah, they use quality ingredients. So let me hear what your guesses are, and then we're going to put them on here. But number one on this list, why don't we start in reverse so we can build the anticipation, build the excitement, shall we? So these are the top 7. I know in my thumbnail I have the top 5, but we're going to do the top 7 healthiest fast food franchises that have the most natural ingredients. Number 7 on the list is Qdoba. I've never been a big fan of Qdoba. Like, I don't hate it, but I've had it in a bind when I'm traveling. But it's just something about it just tastes very bland to me. Not very good. Number 6 is Noodles and Company. That one actually surprises me. When Noodles and Company first came out, I was a much bigger fan, but over time it just tasted worse and worse to me, maybe as my palate evolved. What do you guys think of Noodles and Company? Number 5, a franchise I've never heard of, must be very selective and regional, but it looks like a cool place called BurgerFi. BurgerFi is a rising burger chain that's changing the game when it comes to quality fast food. According to their website, it was founded by gourmet chefs committed to serving the highest quality fresh food in an eco-friendly environment. The chain used 100 natural American Angus beef with no steroids, antibiotics, or artificial growth. They also have Wagyu beef, cage-free chicken, and some other stuff like that. Oh, sounds good. Number 4, Sweet Garden. Now, Sweet Garden I'm familiar with. They mostly do like fast food salad stuff. And I think some fresh juices, if I'm not mistaken. And then this Shake Shack. Shake Shack's coming in pretty on top at number 3, which doesn't surprise me. Shake Shack's good stuff. Shake Shack is open about its commitment to real and natural ingredients. Blah, blah, blah. Don't have to give them a plug any more than they have, right? They're not paying me. Number 2. Let's see what's going on in the chat here before I read the last 2. Banks Dunn says, what is Qdoba? Andy Shirley says Papa John said he did. Banks Dunn also guessed Wendy's. Or as my deceased uncle used to pronounce it, Wendy's. And he died a very rich man, and none of it went to my family, but he was straight up a multimillionaire, very successful, industrious Englishman in Chicago, right in the city there. His name was Uncle Pete. And Uncle Pete, he dressed, he walked, he talked just like Scrooge. Straight up, seriously, just like the classic Scrooge character out of the classic Christmas Tales movie. And he talked like that too. He says, I like going to Wendy's. Yeah, and he wore his pants up really high. He was a grumpy man. But you know what? That guy built an empire. I gotta hand it to him. He can be grumpy. Number 2 on the list, Chipotle. I do like the way Chipotle tastes a little bit better than Qdoba, I have to say. What do you think? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chipotle tastes a little bit. I definitely think Chipotle tastes better than Qdoba. I think Chipotle tastes better than Qdoba. And the number one for a healthiest, according to this list anyway, for the healthiest fast food franchises in the nation, Panera, not to be confused with the seminal 1990s heavy metal band Panera, that's right, Panera. Panera's mission, one Panera for a healthier, happy world. Whatever. But there you have it, folks. There you have it. Maybe you learned something new. Maybe you didn't. I don't know if that list made us smarter or dumber, but nevertheless, it was a list. Keith Haven says, listen to Bad Brains. I love Bad Brains. One of my favorite hardcore bands. I grew up on the Bad Brains. What's not to love about the Bad Brains? Oh, I forgot. Marie, she works at Qdoba. She's probably got to figure it out. So she's probably got to figure it out how to make things taste a little bit better there and what stuff to avoid. She's going to be the expert. She's going to be the Qdoba expert. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for tonight. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for tuning in. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe. Tell someone you know about the show if you think they dig it. Let's grow this thing this year, huh? Let's grow this thing. Thank you for listening so much. Got to give my voice a bit of a break now. And that's all I got. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Until next time, this is your man, Real Deal Steele. Gonna leave you with a little outro.
If we operate with extreme urgency, then we have a chance of making life multiplanetary. Still just a chance, not for sure. If we don't act with extreme urgency, that chance is probably zero. And the rate of innovation is not going to be constant. It's either going to increase the rate of innovation, or it's going to slow down. If you look at American access to space with Crew, we were able to go to the moon in '69. Then with the space shuttle, we could only go to low Earth orbit. And the space shuttle retired. And then for almost a decade, there was no America had no access to space for its people. So this is a pretty bad trend. It's trending to zero.
Right.
We need a very strong trend in the other direction in order to have any chance whatsoever of making life multiplanetary. Yep. So that's the reason for the extreme sense of urgency.
build the technologies necessary to make life multiplanetary. To answer more seriously, If you consider the nature of importance itself and say, how do you tell that anything is important? Well, the lens of history is a helpful guide here. And the more you zoom out, the more you can distinguish the things that are important over a great span of time, the truly important things, versus things that may seem important in the moment but are forgotten once that moment has passed.